Hi, welcome to our second episode of The Tasting Table. I'm Nikki.
I'm Sarah.
And we're your wine gurus.
Today we're joined by Howard, our wine specialist and manager, and he's going to talk to us about two great sparkling wines.
Today we're going to taste two great sparkling wines, one from France, one from California. Taste the differences, talk about some of the similarities, and generally talk about what makes sparkling wine special.
Howard, real quick before we start, I don't know a lot about sparklings. Can you tell me about the different types?
Sparkling wine is made all over the world. It's been made for hundreds of years. Most people think of sparkling wine Champagne, but Champagne is a designated region that's limited by geography, and there's only about 8% of the world's production is Champagne. But the two wines that we're going to taste today are both what they call traditional method or method champenois. And what separates that from, say, Prosecco fermentation occurs, it's tank method. So they actually inject carbon dioxide to make the Prosecco. In this case, the secondary fermentation occurs within the bottle.
And can we settle this for everybody before we start? What's drier, brut or extra dry?
Great question, Nikki. Great question. Most people think extra dry sounds like it would be the driest, but it's not. It's actually a little sweeter. It has more residual sugar than brut. So why don't we try each of the wines? We're going to taste them next to each other so you can see how they differ in the similarities as well. The Paula Kornell that's in your glass here, let's take a look at that. It's made from a producer that was very famous in Northern California, Calistoga and Napa. And Paula, the original owner's daughter, decided to make wine here in California. This is a California Appalachian. It's 80% Chardonnay, 20% Pinot Noir. This has about 7-8 grams of residual sugar, so it's fruit. It's not bone dry. Beautiful way to start a meal, get your palate awake. A lot of people have it with oysters, shellfish, salads. It's a really nice wine. High acidity, right? You want that high acidity, cleanse your palate out, and then you add in the bubbles. It's perfect.
I know, I was going to relate it to our first video too, because I'm tasting a lot of citrus to it. I'm getting a nice acidity.
Yeah, nice acidity, good citrus. You have apples, pears. So let's move to France. So again, the next wine is from a producer called Bichot. It's a Burgundian producer. They make some top Burgundies from Chablis all the way south. This is their sparkling wine called Cremant de Bourgogne. It's a specific appellation. About 10% of their total production is Cremant, and there's 8 different Cremant regions within France. This is probably the most famous. Alsace, maybe the second famous. So let's take a look at this wine.
It's crazy to me that these are both bruts and they taste completely different.
Right, this is much drier.
So this wine sees much more aging than this wine. This wine is almost 2 years in the bottle on the least. So it's a little creamier, a little drier. It's going to be more akin to Champagne, right? Because you have a little bit of toastiness on it, which you don't necessarily get in this wine.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different style. So made in the same style. This has more Chardonnay than the Albert Bichot. The Albert Bichot is about 60% Chardonnay. Chardonnay gives it nice roundness and richness, and the Pinot Noir gives it the finesse. So it's about 60 Chardonnay, 40% Pinot Noir on this wine. The great thing about both of these wines is value. Right now, a bottle of Champagne, $60, $70 a bottle. $20 a bottle for both of these wines.
Wow.
So I like to think you could have 3 bottles of this, 1 bottle of Champagne.
Yeah.
Champagne's a very special wine, but not everyone can afford to spend $60.
But also, if you blind tested people, I don't really know that you would know because you're an expert, but we would not know.
No, I think it's again, there's many different styles, and these are just nice styles, and
they're great.
Very, they're beautiful wines. There's a lot that goes into it. For $20, you're getting a lot of wine for your money on both of these wines.
Well, the label's gorgeous too, so they look more expensive than
so
they
you have
actually
a more modern label here and a little bit more of a traditional label.
Mm.
Again, this producer's been making wine since 1850. This is a winery that's kind of started up again after the original winery started in the 1950s. They've just recently started again about 2 years ago. So I think the most important thing when we taste wines in this style is quality versus value. You get very, very high quality at a terrific value. So you can basically have 3 bottles of each of these to 1 bottle of Champagne. Champagne, there's a worldwide shortage of Champagne now due to poor vintages and high demand. These wines are readily available at $20 a bottle. You really can't beat that. So I really encourage people to try these wines and styles, and they're lesser known, but they're phenomenal values.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, these wines were great. I had a great time. Until next time. It's not a French whisper though. I heard
Yeah.
you're supposed to do a French
Yeah.
whisper if you're at the restaurant.
That's a Hoboken scream right there.
Very yeah. Party!